If you're considering moving to Columbia, Maryland, you've probably already seen that it's been ranked as the #1 small city in America, as well as having some of the best public schools in America. But just because it ranks high across a variety of categories doesn't mean it's without its downsides. So in this video, I'm going to cover 6 reasons why you should avoid Columbia. And if any of these are deal breakers for you, you should start looking somewhere else. So let's just jump right into it. Hey everyone, my name is Eddie and I'm a realtor here in Maryland. And if this is your first time visiting the channel, thank you for being here. I've made it my mission to help people just like you determine the best places to move in Maryland. I give you the top neighborhoods, the market updates, and everything you should know about making a move here. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. All right, let's start off with the first reason that you would avoid moving to Columbia, which is the traffic. Columbia is in a pretty ideal commuter location. It has quick access to Baltimore, Fort Meade, Annapolis, and DC, but it also has the second highest population in Maryland with over 100,000 residents, and it's basically a suburb of Baltimore, which has the highest population in Maryland at over 500,000 residents. So with that comes a lot of congestion. If you're hitting 95, 29, or Route 32 during rush hour, your 20-minute drive could go to 45 minutes or an hour, and if there's an accident, obviously even longer. So it's something to consider. Although you're close to all of these major locations where people are working, it can be a pretty rough drive if you go during rush hour. And since Columbia is made up of a lot of neighborhoods, a lot of suburban developments, there's no real easy cut throughs to go around the highway. I mean, there's a few roads you could cut through in certain areas, but for the most part, you're stuck on 32, you're stuck on 95, and you're stuck on 29. So if any of those are shut down or moving slow, you don't really have any other options to go around it. And the other issue I'll tag on here on top of traffic is just the general congestion in Columbia. With over 100,000 residents, the shopping centers here are pretty much always packed. No matter what time of day, no matter what day of the week, there's pretty much always going to be packed parking lots and packed roadways around the major shopping centers. And if it's during the holiday season, you might as well forget about it and just shop online instead. Now, the second reason to avoid living in Columbia is the limited nightlife and entertainment. Now, Columbia does have its fair share of restaurants and breweries in town, but for the most part, places close early. There's not any nightlife. There's nowhere you're going to stay out late, partying, going out, moving from bar to bar. And if that's something you are interested in, Columbia is probably not going to be the place for you. And if you're looking for a variety of entertainment options, you're pretty much stuck with the movie theaters. And obviously you could go to a show at Merriweather, but you're not going to be doing that every single week. So again, the options are limited here. And if you're looking for a place that has more nightlife, that has more to do, a variety of entertainment, you're going to be looking to live in a place like Baltimore over a place like Columbia. And the third reason Columbia might not be a good fit for you is the Columbia Association fees. And these are also known as CPRA fees if you see them when you're searching online in the comments, but these are fees that are tied to your deed of your house, and you pretty much can't avoid them in almost every single neighborhood of Columbia. And the Columbia Association is a nonprofit organization acting as an umbrella to the 10 villages of Columbia. It manages many of the community's amenities like the nearly 3,600 acres of open space, 95 miles of pathways, the lakes, the ponds, the tot lots, athletic courts, the free entertainment, and wellness programming. And while having these amenities is great, they do come at a cost, and the rate as of 2024 is 68 cents per $100 of assessed value with a cap of $2,500 a year. For example, if your home was assessed at $400,000, you would have a CPR fee of $2,720, but with the cap, you would be capped at $2,500 a year. And this is on top of your regular property taxes and any additional HOA fees that your village may have. Now, what do you get with these fees? Well, you get access to the fitness centers, pools, golf courses, and other recreational facilities at a reduced resident rate, but you do not automatically have access to them with your Columbia Association fees. So you will have to pay extra out of pocket for access to these amenities. Now, for some, this is totally worth it. If you like using the pools, if you're someone who goes to the gym, you want to use the recreation facilities, this ice skating rinks, your kids are going to be very involved in these amenities, in these community centers, then it will be totally worth it for you. But for some, they just won't be able to justify paying an extra $2,500 a year on top of their property taxes, on top of their HOA fees. So this would just not be the right place for them. And the fourth reason that you would avoid living in Columbia is it has a planned community feel. And that's because Columbia is the largest planned community in Maryland. And with that comes a very specific vibe to it. It's going to feel very organized, very put together, but also kind of boring and bland. I mean, it feels like a suburban sprawl. So if you're looking for a place that has character, a lot of uniqueness to it, Columbia is really not going to be the right place for you. It's basically just a collection of well-planned villages and developments with their own individual shopping centers and a ton of shopping on Snowden River Parkway that you can go to, but there's no downtown streets that you're going to be walking. There's no old historic areas that you're going to be walking in Columbia. So again, if that's something you're looking for, this would not be the right place for you. And because it's an older planned community that started in the 60s and many of the homes were built in the 70s and 80s, a lot of the homes today are needing a lot of maintenance. So if that's something that you're not looking for, this might not be the right place for you. And also the style that they had back in the 70s and 80s was very contemporary. So as you're driving through many of the neighborhoods of Columbia, you're going to notice a very different style than nearby cities like Ellicott City. And with the homes being older, like I said, they're going to look a little outdated. The insides are going to feel a little outdated. They're going to be a little smaller than what you'll find in Ellicott City. So it is something to consider when you're thinking about moving to Columbia. But this is also one of the reasons that people love living here is the way that this community is laid out. They love having their individual shopping centers for their village that they can use their walking paths to get to. Everything is interconnected. So that's a big bonus. And one other thing that is nice about how they laid it out is that everything is kind of hidden in the trees. So when you're driving along the roadways in Columbia, there is so much greenery. There are a lot of hills that they hit gas stations and stores behind. So it doesn't look like you're in the middle of a suburban sprawl so much as other neighborhoods, but it is still something to consider when you're thinking about moving here. And the fifth reason to avoid living in Columbia is the lack of local options. Columbia is very heavy on chain restaurants and chain stores. So like I said, there's a lot of shopping centers here in each village and major shopping districts at like Snowden River Parkway. And inside of those is almost all national chain stores. Almost everything is. Now, there are a few local gems like the Royal Taj, the Stanford Grill, 18th and 21st, and a few other really great restaurants. For the most part, though, you're not going to see a great food scene like you would see in Baltimore or Frederick or even Annapolis. And because most of the restaurants are located in shopping centers or isolated by themselves, you're not going to have any kind of downtown areas to be walking around. You have the mall in Columbia, which you could walk around, but that's not going to give you that feel that you're looking for. If you're into that small town, unique charm, it's just not going to be here in Columbia. And the sixth reason to avoid Columbia, and possibly the most important, is the inconsistent school quality. As I said before, Howard County schools are some of the best public schools in the entire nation, but just because it has some of the best schools doesn't mean every single school in Howard County is part of that list. And in Columbia in particular, because of the large population, there are a lot of school districts really smashed into a little area. And because of that, school district boundaries change, and you have school ratings here between a 5 out of 10 and a 10 out of 10. And as you can see on the map here, they are intertwined with each other. So every year, your kids have a risk of being redistricted to a different school. They could go from a 9 out of 10 school to a 6 out of 10 school. And that's something to consider when you're thinking about moving to Columbia, or really anywhere on the eastern side of Howard County versus somewhere on the western side of Howard County. And by the way, if you are looking to live in western Howard County, I just dropped a video on western Howard County, everything you need to know. I'll link it above. Make sure to watch that video right after this one. Now, with schools, I highly recommend doing your own research, going to the actual Howard County Public Schools website, going to greatschools.org, niche.com, reading the reviews from families that have their kids in these school systems. And you need to make sure you're moving to a place that you're happy with, because schools not only have ratings that are important, but they also are tied to home values. So your home value and the future of your home value could be tied directly to the high school district that you're a part of. So there you have it, 6 reasons why Columbia, Maryland might not be the right place for you to move to. Now, it has a lot of great things to offer, but again, it's not perfect. So if it's not right for you, let me know in the comments below which one of these was a deal breaker for you, or are none of these deal breakers and you want to move here. Let me know. I would love to hear from you. And if you haven't already downloaded my guide to Howard County, you are missing out. Make sure to go in the description below and download my free guide to Howard County. I go over everything you need to know about each individual town and city in Howard County, the full breakdown, so you can make the best decision about where to move to. And if that's you, if you're considering moving to Columbia, to Howard County, or anywhere in the nearby area, I would be happy to help you with your move. It's never too early to connect with me, whether that's 2 weeks away or 2 years away. Let's hop on a call. And the best way to connect with me is going in the description again and clicking on that link to schedule a one-on-one consultation with me. We'll get a plan together for your move to make it go as smoothly as possible. And if you just have a quick question for me, you can text me or email me as well, and I'd be happy to help. And as always, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe so you stay up to date on all of my videos about moving to Maryland.